Welcome to the Civic Health Show. We try to promote and bring to you the most exciting and interesting stories on the people and places across the South Bay. Today's no exception. We are here at LA Biomed with CEO and President David Meyer. David, thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Can you tell me a little bit about what this whole LA Biomed is?
Sure. Technically, we are an independent, not-for-profit research institute. We're located on the campus of the Harbor UCLA Medical Center, and in actual fact, we came into being as a result of the beginnings of the Harbor UCLA Medical Center, where the faculty members and physicians actually wanted to do research on this campus. And so they created LA Biomed. And we were officially inaugurated by filing our papers with the state of California in 1952. Actually in April of 1952, so this month we're celebrating our 63rd anniversary of being here on the Harbor UCLA campus.
Now, one of the neat things that people may not realize about the campus here, a lot of people, I don't know from your experience, but from my experience, I've never been here, they don't know what it is. And when I walked on here, I was amazed because it has this World War II barracks feel to it. Can you tell me a little about the past and why it looks and has that feel?
Absolutely. In 1943, the United States Army actually built the Los Angeles Port of Embarkation Station Hospital. What that means is all the troops that were leaving from the harbor, San Pedro, Wilmington, Long Beach, to go to fight in the Pacific Theater of War came through here. So on their way out, last physical exam before getting on the boat was here on this campus, and when they came back, the soldiers, they were checked out here before going home or back to a base at the end of the war. So this was literally an Army hospital. It's on 72 acres of land. It was 120 wooden buildings, and it was a complete soup to nuts hospital and embarkation station for the United States Army.
Wow. Yeah, you can definitely see it when you're walking through here. There's still some of the original buildings here from?
Yes, indeed. So we probably have about 40 odd buildings that are left. The others were taken down to build the Harbor UCLA Medical Center Hospital, which took up about 30 of the 72 acres. So Harbor General Hospital, which was nothing more than the wooden barracks at the time, in the late 40s became the site of the UCLA School of Medicine. It wasn't until the late 50s that a hospital was built and completed on the UCLA campus, and they could actually move the School of Medicine up to Westwood. But for the first 10 years of its existence, UCLA School of Medicine was here in Torrance at Harbor General Hospital. That's really important from LA Biomed's point of view because we had all of the faculty of the UCLA School of Medicine down here doing clinical care at the hospital and teaching residents, fellows, and medical students. What's the missing component of an academic medical center if you've got the clinical care and you've got the teaching? It's the research. And that's why the faculty members of the UCLA School of Medicine, located at the Harbor General Hospital in Torrance, started LA Biomed. It wasn't called LA Biomed in those days,
right.
But the idea was we want this to be an academic medical center in the truest sense of the word, clinical care, teaching, and research. And the minute LA Biomed was started, this became a bona fide academic medical center.
I love that. That was one of my questions. I was wondering how it transformed into what it is today. And as I did some research on this, I realized that there's been a lot of stuff you guys have found and helped and changed lives of so many people coming out of what used to be World War II barracks.
Right.
Can you tell me a little bit about some of the stuff you guys have done?
Well, it's in 63 years, you can imagine there's been quite a lot. Pre-1960s, when someone had a car accident, was injured, an ambulance would come to the scene. You'd be put on the ambulance and you'd be driven to what we used to call receiving hospitals. Nowadays it's emergency rooms or trauma centers. But in those days it was receiving hospitals, and basically there was not much that the ambulance driver could do other than load you into the ambulance and get you to the receiving hospital where you received your first medical care. Well, one of our cardiologists by the name of Michael Criley was a little bit upset about the fact that when people were arriving at the hospital, they could have been in much better shape than they were had someone had attended to them when they had the heart attack or when they were involved in the car accident. So he came up with a plan together with the County of Los Angeles to train county firemen to be first responders. And that concept of training firemen to become what are now called paramedics started on this campus. Of course, a lot of our technology revolves around therapies, around devices, and around diagnostics. So some of the things that are very important that you hear a lot about in our publicity, but it's one of those things that I know you know about and you probably didn't know came from LA Biomed, was the routine test for serum cholesterol level. Everybody's worried about their cholesterol level, and those people who actually know their cholesterol level, they know it because of the test that was devised here at LA Biomed in the late 70s, but is still the one that's in use today, not just in this country, but all over the world. One of the things that is really crucial, and I would say has probably saved more lives than anything else we've ever done, has to do with a simple treatment for premature babies. Premature babies, I guess in the 60s, as late as the 60s and 70s, if you were born 4 to 5 weeks prematurely, there was a very good chance you wouldn't survive that. Nowadays, you can be born up to 12 weeks prematurely, and you have a very good chance of surviving. The problem is with being born prematurely, one of the major problems is that your lungs are not sufficiently developed. Why? Because really it's the last thing you need to do before you're born or as you're born is actually breathe. So the lungs are the last thing to develop, and there's a chemical that's secreted by the lungs. It's called surfactant, which actually allows you to breathe once you have to start breathing. And if you're born prematurely, 5, 6 weeks prematurely or even earlier, your lungs aren't making surfactant yet. So our neonatologists, realizing that there was a need to extend the chances of a premature baby to survive, realized that if we could figure out a way to deliver to them surfactants that their lungs could use as if they were producing their own, until the time that they do produce their own, they'd have a much greater chance of surviving being born prematurely. If you go back to the 80s when we started this, up to today, which is over 30 years, and you figure the numbers, there have to be tens of millions of people who were born prematurely, who are only alive today, tens of millions, because of our development of artificial surfactants back in the 80s. And to me, that's, you know, the most staggering statistic. Sure. Tens of millions of lives saved.
That is incredible. Well, I want to thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure learning about LA Biomed. It's such an interesting concept, and it's right here in our backyard, right here in Torrance. If people want to learn more information about LA Biomed, how can they find out more?
Well, the easiest thing is www.labiomed.org. We have a website. A lot of the history that I talked about is on there. There's also access to all of the research projects and even the clinical trials that are going on if people would like to sign up for some of them. So that's really the best way. And our doors are always open. This is a public campus. If people want to learn more, they can contact LA Biomed directly. The phone number's on the website.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and thank you for watching the Civic Health Show.